Hi, my name is Lauren Nunn, and this is my final project for Nutrition for Health and Sports Performance. And I chose to do this project on carotenoids. Now, just an overview of carotenoids. They are found in plants, and they are more specifically the yellow, orange, and red pigments that are synthesized by plants. They're not considered a vitamin or mineral, but some types of them do have the ability to be converted to vitamin A once in the body. They have a role as antioxidants and in immune function. They do not have an established recommended daily allowance or adequate intake because the full extent of their role is unknown. But you can increase your intake of carotenoids simply by consuming more colorful fruits and vegetables, as well as 100% vegetable juice. Now, before I go into depth about carotenoids, I'm going to talk about the major types of carotenoids that we would see in our diet. There's two broad classes, and those are carotenes and xanthophylls. And the most common carotenoids in North American diets are alpha carotene, beta carotene, beta cryptoxanthin, lycopene, lutein, and zeaxanthin. Now, alpha carotene, beta carotene, and beta cryptoxanthin are called provitamin A carotenoids. And that basically just means that when they're consumed, the body can convert them to retinol, which is the precursor for vitamin A. Now, lycopene, lutein, and zeaxanthin have shown no vitamin A activity and cannot be converted to retinol in the body. And on the right, you'll see is the molecular structure of these carotenoids that I just discussed. Now, carotenoids have been shown to have many functions. Probably their most well-known function is their vitamin A activity. And as I said, the provitamin A carotenoids can act as a source of vitamin A because when they're consumed, the body can convert them to retinol. And as we know, vitamin A is a vitamin that is essential for growth and development, as well as immune system function and vision. Carotenoids have also shown antioxidant activity, particularly in plants. They have the ability to deactivate singlet oxygen, which is formed during photosynthesis. And currently in the human body, it's unknown whether the biological effects of carotenoids are a result solely of antioxidant activity or if there's also other non-antioxidant mechanisms that lead to these biological effects. Carotenoids also help with light filtering. The lutein and zeaxanthin are two types of carotenoids that can efficiently absorb and reduce the amount of blue light that reaches the critical visual structures of the eye, and this helps protect them from light-induced oxidative damage. Carotenoids also help with intercellular communication, and they do this by increasing the expression of a gene that encodes for connexin, and connexin is a protein that forms gap junctions in cell membranes, allowing them to communicate via the exchange of small molecules. And as mentioned previously, carotenoids also have a role in immune function, particularly based on their role in provitamin A activity, but there's also possibly other mechanisms by which carotenoids improve the immune system. Now, there's been many studies on carotenoids and their ability to prevent diseases. There have been studies that have found that there is an inverse relationship between lung cancer risk and beta carotene intake. But on the other hand, there have also been more recent studies that haven't found this relationship to be consistent. Studies have also found that lycopene-rich diets are associated with a reduced risk of prostate cancer. Several studies also indicate that a diet high in carotenoid-rich fruits and vegetables led to a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. However, it is unknown if this is a result of carotenoid consumption or if it's a result of other factors associated with diets high in carotenoid-rich fruits and vegetables. Now, as I mentioned previously, lutein and zeaxanthin can help protect the eye by preventing oxidative damage. And for this reason, these two carotenoids are often given as supplements to patients who have macular degeneration or cataracts because it has been shown to improve those symptoms. Now, as mentioned previously in the introduction, there is no current recommended dietary allowance or adequate intake prescribed for carotenoids, simply because the full extent of their role in the human diet isn't quite known yet, and it's not really known if it's quite necessary to take carotenoids in the form of a supplement. Typically, doctors will just recommend a diet that's high in fruits and vegetables, and by eating a lot of colorful fruits and vegetables, you tend to consume sufficient carotenoids in your diet. Now, here are some good sources of these specific carotenoids. Lutein and zeaxanthin are found in dark green leafy vegetables such as spinach and kale. And the reason these two are reported together is because the methods used to quantify both lutein and zeaxanthin in foods do not separate these two compounds, so typically you'll see them reported together like this. Lycopene can be found in tomato products. This would include tomato sauce, tomato paste, and ketchup. And lycopene is actually what gives tomatoes, pink grapefruit, watermelon, and guava their color. And it's estimated that 80% of lycopene in the US diet comes from tomatoes and tomato products. Alpha and beta carotene are found in orange and yellow vegetables such as carrots and winter squash. And beta cryptoxanthin is found in orange and red fruits and vegetables such as sweet red peppers and oranges. Now, as I mentioned earlier, most doctors don't recommend a specific amount of carotenoids in the diet, which would also entail that it's not necessary to take a carotenoid supplement. The only reason you would probably need a supplement would be if you have one of those health problems that I discussed earlier, such as macular degeneration, cataracts, or you're at risk for prostate cancer or cardiovascular disease. In that case, you may be prescribed a carotenoid supplement by your doctor. Now, these supplements are best absorbed when taken with a meal that has fat in it. You can purchase these supplements commercially without a prescription in the United States. Synthetic lycopene, as well as natural sources of lycopene, typically from tomatoes, can be found as nutritional supplements. Lutein and zeaxanthin are available as free carotenoids or as esters. And beta carotene can be used to provide all or part of the vitamin A in a multivitamin supplement. There are currently no known signs of deficiency from carotenoids. Consumption of provitamin A carotenoids, which, as I said, are the carotenoids that are converted to vitamin A when they're in the body, can help prevent a vitamin A deficiency, but there's no deficiency symptoms that have been identified in people that have low carotenoid diets that contain enough vitamin A. So it's possible to take carotenoids to increase the amount of vitamin A you have in the body, but that's not necessarily um, the only way to get vitamin A. And um, if you have a diet that's adequate in vitamin A, you most likely won't have any signs of deficiencies, even if you have a diet that's low in carotenoids. As well as toxicity, there's really no known symptoms of toxicity from carotenoids. The conversion of beta carotene to vitamin A tends to decrease when you have a high store of vitamin A in the body. So you actually don't really have vitamin A toxicity even when you're consuming high doses of beta carotene. Additionally, there have been no reported toxicities for lycopene, lutein, or zeaxanthin, which are also common carotenoids. Now, while there are no known symptoms of toxicity for carotenoids, there have been some adverse effects that have been observed in different clinical studies. Specifically, there were two randomized controlled trials in smokers and former asbestos workers, and these trials found that a diet high in beta carotene supplements actually led to an increased risk of lung cancer in the smokers and asbestos workers in comparison to the placebo group. Additionally, high doses of beta carotene in conjunction with large amounts of carotene-rich foods can cause carotenodermia, and that's just a yellow discoloration of the skin. And this isn't really associated with any other symptoms, and it goes away if you take the beta carotene and the large amounts of carotene-rich foods from the diet. Similarly, if you have a high intake of lycopene, it can cause lycopenodermia, which would be a deep orange discoloration of the skin. This also doesn't have any other symptoms associated with it, and it tends to stop once you remove that high intake of lycopene. There have been no known adverse effects of lutein or zeaxanthin. So these adverse effects aren't, for the most part, very severe, and a lot of times are only caused by extremely abnormal high doses of carotenoids, which are much more than a typical diet of fruits and vegetables would cause. Now, the research article that I looked at for this project is titled Biologically Active Polymers from Spontaneous Carotenoid Oxidation, a New Frontier in Carotenoid Activity. And this study basically looked at carotenoids and what their role is beyond vitamin A health benefits. The researchers cited that one important and neglected aspect of the behavior of carotenoids is their ability to undergo addition of oxygen to form a copolymer. So with this in mind, the researchers observed the spontaneous oxidation of beta carotene, and which led to the beta carotene oxygen copolymer. And from the results, they found that this polymeric product is biologically active. Additionally, the researchers found that oxygen copolymer formation appears to be common in all carotenoids and is widespread, and these products can contribute to health benefits of carotenoid-rich fruits and vegetables. So there is my final project on carotenoids, and I hope you learned a lot from this.